This video is dedicated to Kias Rose Griffin, who, sadly, passed away sometime around Thanksgiving of 2024. She was a frequent presence on our streams and videos, particularly the streams of Shin Megami Tensei V Demonless, and her bright and friendly personality livened every stream she was there for. It felt right to honor her memory on a video about this game. While the exact circumstances around her death are unclear, some details, which I'll withhold for privacy, lead us to believe she took her own life. As such, all revenue earned from this video will be donated to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. This includes not only ad revenue, but will also include any super thanks which are made to this video. In this new year, if nothing else, take the time to let someone you care about know that you love them. You never know what they might be going through. With that said, thank you for your time, and we hope you enjoy this video. Shin Megami Tensei has always been a game that liked to give you a partner demon at the start for you to latch onto. Whether it's Pascal the dog or the Uber Pixie, the games enjoy giving you a starting friend to tag along with. Shin Megami Tensei V elevated this by adapting the Navigator system from the Persona games, allowing you to have a non-combat demon partner to scout the area with you and attempt to find hidden items. In addition, many of these special Navigators have unique properties, from their personalities to what items they find. And when Vengeance dropped, it proceeded to expand the list of available Navigators from 6 to 17, and then later to 23 with a free update. With 22 different friends to choose from, the question arises, how the hell do these guys even work? I mean, half the time it seems like they fail to find anything and drag you into a random encounter, and every single demon seems to find something different. Well, as I'm recording this, the holidays are just wrapping up, so in spirit of giving, I decided to break down what we know about the Navigators of Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance, and how exactly they go about giving you items, what items they find, and how often they find items at all. Comrades and Devil Summoners, I welcome you to the first episode of Who Wants to Be a Navigator? The first thing we should do is set up some ground rules. No use flying off the handle if you don't know what I'm talking about. Also, big shoutouts again to CTOBN. He's the one who got all this information in the first place. Can't thank him enough. We'll be referencing his tables, which are linked in a massive Steam community post he made detailing a good chunk of the game's inner workings. Links to that in the description. To start with a summary, every single Navigator has 4 variables besides their literal name. The ID, which is the Navigator's demon ID and is mostly used to reference battle animations and sound effects, the add item rate, which determines their rate of finding items, the excavate type, which just determines their item pool, and an open flag, which is just code for their unlock condition. It's also worth noting, the add item rate and excavate type only come into play when checking a location, sometimes called a partner spot, that isn't scripted. Most partner spots are initially scripted to be specific items or fights, and will always spawn that item or that fight. Every time that spot is checked afterwards, it's rolled randomly. Also, mind you, every single balm drop is a scripted drop, so don't expect to find balms just lying around. To explain how all of these things work together, let's take a look at the first Navigator you unlock at the start of the game, and the only one you can actually lose access to, Amanazako.
Oh, you want some? Well, do ya?
Amanazako's add item rate, which I'm just going to call the item modifier from now on, is +5, and her excavate type, which I'll call the item pool, is 2. Sadly, how the game determines whether a spot is an item or a fight isn't yet known, but it's easiest to describe it like a dice roll. The larger your bonus to item modifier is, the greater the odds you will find an item instead of a fight. As such, a negative item modifier will result in that Navigator finding more fights than they do items. Forgive the Dungeons & Dragons metaphor, but pretend when Amanazako finds a partner spot, she has to make a roll to search. Because of her inherent bonus to item rate, she makes this roll with a +5 modifier. Compare this to Ippon Datra, who instead rolls with a -10. This means Amanazako will find items more often than she'll find fights, but with a +5, fights won't be entirely off the table. Meanwhile, Ippon Datra will almost always find fights, unless the roll is scripted. Moving to the item pools, again, sadly, the exact contents of each pool aren't yet known, though we do still have some generalities discovered through trial and error. For example, item pool 3 is the gem pool. Navigators in this pool have a high likelihood of finding gems, which can be traded for incenses to boost the stats of your demons. You can trade these to Queen Mebd in Ginza for Canon of Creation, or Attis in Shibuya for Canon of Vengeance. This is easily one of the best pools, so it's quite an exclusive club. In Shin Megami Tensei V, it was exclusive to Dekarabia, but in Vengeance, he is now joined by Alice and Cleopatra, so running with any of these demons would be a smart move. But even if we don't know exactly what's in every pool quite yet, we do know the next best thing. What demons are in each pool? Since every Navigator uses one of 5 pools, this means that running 2 demons of the same pool should produce similar results as far as their items are concerned. Meaning we can simply name each pool after the demons within them. I'll try to explain what items I saw in each pool myself, but if you've had differing experiences, post them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. So up first is pool number 1, which I've dubbed the little guys. All the demons in this pool are small little guys, and often seem to find support items, sutras, or ailment gems. This pool includes Atavaris, Jack-o'-lantern, Amabi, Sukona Hikona, and Mara. Also, technically in this group, and worth mentioning, is one of the 2 unused Navigators. For some reason, in the code for Navigators are 2 that don't actually exist. Whether these were planned and cut, or just test data, who can say? But the first of these is Cybele, and she would also be found here. Up next, we have pool number 2, or as I call it, the fairies. All the demons here are fairies, or at least fairy adjacent in some way, either in terms of plot or just general vibe. A lot of the items that can be actively used in battle are found here, either for healing or support, as well as spy glasses and smoke balls. These are Pixie, Huapo, Amarazako, Mushobu, Idun, and Fion Makul. Next we have pool number 3, the Gem Hunters. There's no real logic to who's here, but all of these demons find gems that you can trade for incenses. This, again, consists of Decaravia, Alice, and Cleopatra. Then we have pool number 4, the Fight Club. I call it this because most of the items here are junk, a lot of money and sellable relics, rather than anything you might actually use in a battle or something. Instead, this pool is most notable for spawning encounters, because not a single demon in this pool has an item find bonus higher than 0. This pool consists of Nahobeeho, Ipondatara, Bugs, and Hellbiker. Lastly, we have pool number 5, which I'm just going to call the best pool because it's fantastic. This one more or less drops all the best items you would want. Demon boxes, gold cards, grimoires, attack and magic mirrors, the works. If you're not looking for gems, this is the pool you want to sit on. This pool contains Yatkarasu, Cinerup, Mermaid, Agathion, and Mothman, as well as the second unused Navigator, Lilin. If you're using any of the demons in a group, you should find similar items to other demons of that group. So Agathion should produce the same items as Yatakarasu, and Mara should produce the same as Amabi. However, this begs the question, which demon is the best out of each group? We know that each demon has a chance to find items, so who has the best chance of actually finding what they're trying to find? Well, let me break it down for you. Let's go through each pool one more time and order each demon by item bonus. For the little guys, we have Atavaris, Jack-o'-lantern, Amabi, Sukona Hikona, and Mara. Atavaris has a plus 10 to finding items, Amabi has plus 5, Sukona Hikona has 0, Jack-o'-lantern has a minus 5, and Mara has a minus 10. It should also be noted that if Cybele were in the game, she would also have a plus 0, and would be functionally identical to Sukona Hikona. For the fairies, we have Pixie, Huapo, Amarazako, Moshiwu, Idun, and Fion Makul. Idun has a whopping plus 15 to finding items, followed by Pixie at plus 10, Amarazako at plus 5, Fion at plus 3, Huapo at plus 0, and Moshiwu at minus 5. For the gem finders, Alice comes in with a plus 5, Cleo with a plus 0, and Decaravia, funny enough, is at a minus 10. The only one you have to pay for, and he's the worst one in his pool that used to just be his. For the Fight Club, we have Nahobeeho, Ipondatara, Bugs, and Hellbiker. Beho comes in with a cool plus 0, and it's all downhill from there. Bugs has a minus 5, Hellbiker a minus 8, and Ipondatara a whopping minus 10. And lastly, we have pool number 5. Yatakarasu has a plus 15, Mothman a plus 10, Agathion a plus 5, Mermaid a plus 0, and Chiro has a minus 5. Had Lilim not gone unused, she'd be at the bottom with a minus 10. Also, no, I have no idea why Hellbiker and Fion are the only ones that don't have a multiple of 5 as their item modifier. Regardless, it would seem as though we have our answers. Atavaris is the best out of all the little guys, Idun out of all the fairies, Alice for the gem finders, Nahobeeho for the Fight Club, and Yatakarasu for pool number 5. But the numbers don't tell the full story. For example, you only obtain Atavares if you do his quest in Minato, and only then once you obtain access to Odaiba in the late game. So prior to that point, you'll want to use one of the other Pool 1 Navigators. Though depending on your choice of route, that might be a bit difficult. See, there are a few Navigators that are exclusive to the Canon of Creation or Canon of Vengeance. To be specific, Huapo and Sinnerup are exclusive to Canon of Creation, and Sukuna Hikona, Alice, and Amabi are exclusive to Canon of Vengeance. This means Creation players will find their options for Pool number 1 to be quite slim. Both routes' first option is Jack-o'-lantern, but Vengeance then goes to Shinjuku and unlocks Amabi and Sukuna Hikona. Meanwhile, Creation Path is stuck with Jack-o'-lantern until you unlock Atavares and Mara once you reach Taito. And that's not the only way Creation gets screwed. Your options for the gem pool are pretty strapped as well. While Canon of Vengeance unlocks Alice in Shinjuku, Creation is stuck with Dekarabia unless you beat Cleopatra, at which point she becomes your best gem-finding navigator. But even then, Creation players will still have a harder time finding gems to trade for incenses than Vengeance players, simply because they don't have access to Alice. Meanwhile, the Creation-specific navigators, Huapo and Sinnerup, are already outclassed by the time you unlock them. By the time you reach Ginza to grab Huapo, you already have access to Idun and Pixie, and by the time you unlock Chiro, you already have Mothman, Agathion, or even Mermaid. While you can still absolutely use these navigators if you like them, you will almost always get more items with any of their alternate options. There are a couple more things that I also do feel like are worth mentioning. Firstly, while Nahobeeho is the most likely to find items in Pool 4, that doesn't necessarily make him Pool 4's best choice. Think about it, if you're running a Fight Club navigator, you most likely aren't looking for items in the first place. You're probably looking to start a fight. So in this case, you actually want the lowest item modifier for this, which would be Ippon Datara. Though with that said, you could also run Mara or Dekarabia, so that on the off chance you do find an item, it's actually something you could use. Secondly, as I'm sure you've noticed, the two demons most likely to find items are Idun and Yatakarasu. Both of these two have a plus 15, so if you don't want to get into fights, like, at all, using either of these two would be your best bet. Prior to the free DLC, Yatakarasu showing up in Taito almost felt like a reward, as you unlock the navigator most able to dodge encounters towards the end of the game. But with Idun now available as early as late Shinagawa, if you want to avoid encounters as soon as possible, she's your best bet now. Of course, that's only if you prefer Pool 2 to Pool 5, but Pool 2 is still extremely useful. Idun also kind of invalidates Pixie, who's unlocked about 5 minutes in the game earlier, but has a noticeably smaller modifier. So with that, we have our final contestants. Idun with the earliest plus 15 modifier, Alice with the highest modifier to find gems, Mara with a plus 10 to finding demons, and Atavares for being the best item pool number 1. Thank you to all the contestants today, you did a fantastic job, but there can only be one winner. So, who's the best Navi of them all? Thank you all so much for watching. This video was a bit different and less mathy for a series called The Math of Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance, but the navigators are a big part of the game and it was super fun to see who would turn up next. Also, thank you to Jaffinator2166 providing all the footage used in this video. Been struggling footage-wise after hard type, so having someone to tag in helped a bunch. Also, of course, special thanks to Patreon members, so Kekion, Cuddlefish, Axel Rosenberg, Gracemi, Kirara, Trekker96, Ash, Dylan Toomey, and Hound. And to YouTube members, Dawn Shimmer, Ryoko Strifer, Axel Ryman, Part-Time Prick, Fabrizio Pignataro, Uplin2, Not D Wadler, Jaffinator2166, Pika the Wumpus, Scott Rauch, Hunter Regal, Ray the Shame, Shattercoin, Platinum, Agrith Dragonflame, Tagless, Shu Oma, Lovelace, Sketch Pixels, Shakido Shy, Baron Von Kame, Smash Hero 75, Malcolm Lee, Megito, That One Boy 687, Carter Henderson, Legend Soma, Conway's Quest, Aquarius Waterbearer, Walteri Kopanen, and Some Guy. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a happy new year. I have no idea when this video comes out, but regardless, I hope everyone watching has a bright 2025.